Hello, I'm Meredith Blackwell. I'm at the International Mycological Congress 12 in Maastricht, Netherlands, and we're doing a program called An Oral History for Mycology. It's the 14th of August, 2024, and I'm going to have an interview with a prize winner at the Mycological Congress. So why don't you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and a little bit about growing up and becoming interested in fungi.
Hello, I'm Dr. Cesar Marin. I'm a full professor in Santo Tomas University in southern Chile. Originally, I'm from Colombia, but I have done all my scientific career in Chile since my PhD. I grew up in a coffee farmer producer place from my father's side, and then from my mother's side, she was an indigenous lawyer with the indigenous communities back in Colombia. So I was always in contact with nature. But to be honest, my love for fungi started in my PhD. As soon as I started my PhD, I started working with fungi. Previously,
Somebody just assigned it to you, or
it was an accident, to be honest. I went in February 2014. There was only one professor present who ended up being my PhD advisor. And he had this very interesting project on how the IFE basically breaks the rocks in beneath the soil, the parent material. So I was immediately taken away by this concept, which allows me to relate biodiversity and function, which is actually the subject of this IMC. Conceptually, it was always my interest to relate both things. Different ways of measuring biodiversity and also different ecosystem functions, and fungi is the perfect organism to do this.
Yeah. So, are you in a position where you teach as well as do research?
Yes, I teach to PhD students, and I also have some guest classes around Chile and around South America. Yeah.
And do you have like a semester-long class, or do you mostly do research during the year?
No, not really a semester-long
Yeah.
class. I teach on different courses, some specific classes. I teach, for example, for bachelor, I teach mycorrhizas, like a whole section on mycorrhizas. And then for PhDs, I teach soil restoration ecology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. We do it quite differently, and I get tired teaching for an entire semester. It's a long time.
Yes, it's a long
Yeah,
time.
and I don't always teach in a specialty, well, when I did teach, yeah. Yeah, so you want to tell us some more detail about your work?
Yes. Well, I do both basic and applied science. Right now, I have two big projects in Chile, five-year projects. One is new, is just starting. It's along with Nancy Collins Johnson from Northern Arizona University. We are applying like evolutionary theory to understand how plants ensemble the microbiome, including the arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi, which is my specialty. So we are really proposing like a new theory, which hopefully will be a paper really soon, that we call functional team selection. So plants select functional winning teams just in stressful conditions, just when the nutrients in the soil are very few, or when there is like plant pathogens. Under these conditions, there is this functional team selection, and we are applying complexity science to understand how this assemble occur. And we are putting that in practice in working with a native conifer, which is Fitzroya cupressoides. In Spanish is the alerce. Is a native conifer, is an arbuscular mycorrhizal native conifer, so in that is very different from the northern hemisphere conifers.
Yeah.
We are creating this program of artificial microbiome selection through several generations. So you just take the soil once, and then you select kind of the best microbiome for the next generation of plants. So that's one project. And the other is vine jars. We are proposing a way to generate a specific biofertilizers or bioinoculants targeting vineyards and grapevine, which in Chile is a very strong, important crop.
Oh, we have wines. We import a lot of wines from America.
Yeah, as well. Yeah. So the first thing that we did was like an assessment of biodiversity across 1,000 kilometers of Chilean vineyards, because everything in Chile is these long gradients. So that's part of what I'm presenting here, although I also presented the functional team selection stuff. Yeah, so that's basic in major terms. Then I have a lot of smaller collaborations in Peru, in Argentina, in Colombia, in Ecuador, related mostly to mycorrhizal stuff, both like assessment of biodiversity, but also inoculating different crops like coffee and cacao and rice with mycorrhizas, and these are like typical mycorrhization experiments. Yeah.
Well, as you did, there have been several people that we've talked to who grew up working on farms where coffee was grown. So it's really interesting, and we were just talking about one of the diseases, the mushroom in coffee. Do you have that in
We have that rust. We have that, and we actually I'm a lead author or senior author in a paper 2020 with my collaborators in Peru. We implemented this technique called mini tunnels, which is basically like very small greenhouse, like a very small greenhouse, to produce coffee resistant to this fungal disease.
So you've bred some resistant strains?
Yes, actually, actually we did in the Amazonian, in the Peruvian Amazon, because definitely it's a problem everywhere that coffee grows. This is a huge problem, and my father's side of the family, they are coffee farmers. So some years where this disease is very strong, they basically don't have resources to live. It's very worrisome.
Yeah, and I know that in places where some of these tropical crops are grown, there have been whole countries that the presidents have declared emergencies because of these diseases.
Basically, and we have I saw some presentations showing forecasts on the different fungal gills, how they will respond to climate change, and basically mycorrhizas will go down, pathogens will go up. So it's very worrisome,
And this will appear in an article in The Economist.
Probably.
Scare people.
Yeah.
So have you got other things you want to talk about your...
Yeah, definitely. Since 2017, I coordinate, I'm the leader of the South American Mycorrhizal Research Network. We are a global South network. We have people from 50 countries and 440 members in the network.
All continents?
All continents.
Oh.
It's a very horizontal network. There is no, I'm the coordinator, but there is not like a president or vice president. And we have done a lot, actually. We have done 3 symposiums in the Amazon, in Chile, in Argentina. We have written 2 books, published 7 articles. We have a YouTube channel similar to this with over 50 interviews to mycorrhizologists. So please check the South American Mycorrhizal Research Network. We do a lot. It's a lot of people. I would say like 40 of them are very active. So as fungi, there is a lot of labor division. So some people like to do more the social media stuff. Some people like to edit books. So in that way, it works quite nicely.
Okay, so it's on the internet. You can find things,
Yes.
all of these things,
Yes.
Publications and the social media.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
There is a website, southmycorrhizas.org.
southernmycorrhizas.com.
southmycorrhizas.org.
.org.
Yeah.
Org, yeah.
I'm also the editor-in-chief of the International Mycorrhiza Society newsletter. So it's very similar. It's a lot of outreach to the community.
Yeah. Very nice. And you're getting an award?
I'm getting the Carlos Spegazzini medal tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Spegazzini's one of my heroes.
Spegazzini is fantastic, yeah.
He worked a lot with insect fungi that I'm interested in, and also Roland Thaxter worked on some of these. He was at Harvard, but
Which specific fungi are you interested?
well, there's one called Pixidiopera,
Okay.
and Spegazzini isolated this
Oh, nice.
off of dung. It's really a mycoparasite.
Okay.
But I have a colleague who's actually over here today.
Yeah.
And he's at Harvard, and he
Yeah.
maintains the collection.
I visit him.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
visit
you've
him.
been to visit the
Yeah, I
collection.
visit him. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Thaxter and Spegazzini worked on some of the same fungi. Yeah, a lot of these little bitty things that are on they're ectoparasites,
Nice.
beetles and flies and things.
Nice.
Yeah. So you've been to the Farlow then?
Just
Farlow,
once.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
once. Yeah.
I've been, I guess, twice only, but it's a really interesting
Fantastic.
place.
Yeah.
But I guess Thaxter and Spegazzini met up once,
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
yeah.
I didn't know
Don
that.
can tell you more. Don Feaster can tell
See,
you more about
yeah.
that, but they did meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you ever look at insect fungi?
No, not really. I'm
Yeah.
very.
It's very different from what you're doing. Yeah.
The only taxonomy that I do, I think that because in Chile we have this problem that taxonomies don't get funded, which
Yeah.
is very sad. The only taxonomy that I do is Glomeromycota a little bit, but to be honest, I use a lot metabarcoin. But yeah, we have this issue that because I know several good friends who are really good taxonomists, and they need to propose grants on biotechnological stuff, which is not really their passion. So it's very problematic.
Yeah, we've been quite lucky in the United States with some of the funding we've been able to get.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, it's very nice to see you and meet you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
We're glad you came to talk to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.